Come on in. What is it? Today is August the 9th, 2024. Good to see you. Um, Welcome. And I guess, I don't know, I got some links I'll put in. Lloyd, do you want to go ahead and get us
Well,
started?
I can just make a few announcements about our upcoming our main meeting on the 20th of August here, third Tuesday. We got Dale Sweet lined up to come up talk about tax sales. He is a premier tax sale attorney for the St. Louis area, maybe for the state of Missouri. I'm not sure, but because the sales are um, the fourth Monday, which is the 26th, the following Monday. So, and John had if you were well, I hope we were on yesterday. If you're going to go to a tax sale, you're probably should have gotten on John's session yesterday. So sounds like he had a good crowd there. And the aside from this, our every Friday networking, the next lunch, networking lunch. Hey, you missed a good one. This we had about a dozen people this past Monday for the August one. It's always on the first Monday except for September. It's on the second Monday. So it'll be 9 September, be the next opportunity to have a networking lunch with us, myself and Grace Waitman, our board members, were there and had about 10 other people. So we had a good chance to network. I forgot to tell you, John, I had a banker came doing a little wanted to do a little networking, and he must have had some expense money. He bought lunch for everybody at the table that he was sitting at. So you don't know
Very
what you get. There is such thing as a free lunch occasionally. Anyway, that's what we got coming up. And I guess before we get started, unless you want to go into a little more depth, John, with Dale Sweet's presentation coming up. If not, we can go to.
Yeah, I just got a couple things maybe I'll mention real quick here. Yeah, if you didn't join, we did have a pretty good crowd yesterday. If you didn't join us, I'm just now working on getting the rendition up to the website, and let's see here. I'll go ahead and put a link in there. So if you want to watch that, get you kind of prepared for the meeting on the 20th. Dale Sweet will be here. And it's, we shared some stuff yesterday. St. Louis is kind of, St. Louis County anyway, they're all different. Every county in Missouri is different. There's 115 counties and cities entities anyway, and you got to know what you're doing with each one. But the sales are coming up on the fourth Monday of the month. So that's why Dale's coming in to talk to us. He's probably one of the top, just like Lloyd said, one of the top attorneys in the state that deals with this. One of the guys who joined us yesterday, Scott Walterbach, he's the one that puts on the Missouri Tax Sales Seminar every year. He's done 3 so far. And next year, we talked to him, and thanks to Kathy Davis, too, the attorney comes in and talks to us for the introduction, but he's coming to St. Louis next year. And we do have some of you guys I see already, Jay and a couple other guys already on the waiting list here. And then we'll send out the details as soon as we know a bit more, but it's going to be at the St. Louis area realtor building over there on Olive, where we used to meet with our main meetings. So I highly encourage you to do that. It's not very expensive, but you're going to be in the room with all the top people from the state, and you're going to learn a lot. If you're all interested in a different way to invest, in a different way to deal with stuff, I highly recommend that. Something I've done for many years. I do things a little bit differently over the counter, which we kind of talked a little bit about yesterday. But you can get in there. You could be an expert in one area. You can even pick a county in a different part of the state, and where not a lot of people do this, because there's just some things you need to know. And this is a great meeting we have coming up on the 20th. So I highly recommend that you guys show up. We probably will have a virtual option for you guys that are members from out of town. But I would recommend being in the room if at all possible. And we had the state on the certifications for minorities and women's and veteran-owned businesses last Tuesday. We have the replay of that too. Again, I just sent those links to our webmaster, and they should be up hopefully soon. I know he said he sent us, Lloyd. I know you got the email. He said he's going to try to be a little more punctual. I know they got some stuff going on, so hopefully we'll get that up real soon in the member section, but I'll go ahead and put the links in the chat while we're here today. let's see what else. Oh, just one other thing I just want to mention here in August. This just came up. I just seen this, but my business coach, JT Fox, he's coming to St. Louis, actually in Chesterfield on August 29th. So this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. He's in Australia right now, and he'll be in Chicago and then Atlanta, and then he's coming to St. Louis. They just kind of said that. So if you're interested in meeting the top business coach in the world and some high level people, this is a free event too, which is kind of surprising because I know I've paid $5,000 to go see him before. So this is, I mean, they're kind of looking for speakers and things like that, but you don't really have to be a speaker and you can learn some stuff. And I'll put that link in there also. I think that's all I got to say. The Missouri tax sales coming up 4th August and Monday, which is the 26th. So make sure your calendar and your schedule's marked for the 20th for our main meeting, because you want to make sure you do tune in for that. Even if you haven't bought a tax property or if you think it's confusing, it's great to learn this stuff because not that many people specialize in it, and you can be an expert and be the top one. I know I get phone calls all the time for stuff I did years ago, and even the collectors give out my phone number now for certain areas down in certain counties. So I mean, just being in the room, and that's an opportunity you'll have to do next year, next June 20th, 2025, when Scott puts on the Missouri Tax Sales Seminar right here in St. Louis. So I would highly recommend, even if you're from out of town, I would recommend maybe even looking at coming in town for that. So a lot of good stuff going on, and I guess that's all I have. So I guess we wanted to have Laura do our disclaimer and get started.
Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
All righty. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Really appreciate that. Yeah, and just I'll add on a little bit to what John said. If you do think you want to just go to a tax sale, see what they're about, I guess you don't have to have a bidder's number. But if you do want to bid, at least in St. Charles County, it's probably the same as St. Louis, you need to fill out a application to get a bidder number ahead of time. And in St. Charles, you have to have it. Their form is downloadable from the collector site, but then you have to have it notarized. And when you turn it in, so I took mine in earlier this week in St. Charles County. They have a notary right at in the courthouse or the government building there. But yeah, and they do in St. Charles. I was looking for when they were going to have their listing posted. They had it in the legal newsletter. In fact, I used to, when I follow it more closely, the St. Charles County Business Record posted them back in July. So, but they've got them on the collector site now. Has a link to the list of properties that are going to be on the 2024. So if you go to the collector's line, probably the same in Missouri. Well, although in St. Louis County, but then Dale Sweet actually has a better, probably better than the county has, because he has it on his website, has a map. The properties are linked to a map, so you can look at a map, pick the properties that you may be interested in. Okay, well, who wants to start us out here today with haves and wants? While we're waiting for somebody to think about it, I see Stacy Lowe is on from Soto with us from Soto Property Solutions. If you want to unmute yourself, Stacy, and tell us a little bit about since Soto Property Solutions is one of our supporting vendors, we usually give you a chance to speak. And I'm sorry, see, I followed the primaries this week. I saw David did not get his
Yeah.
in the legislature.
Unfortunately, it was pretty close though, but
It was,
yeah. Yeah, that's a
Aw.
bummer. But yeah, hello everyone. I'm Stacy Lowe. I'm with Soto Property Solutions. I am a licensed realtor in the state of Missouri. I am in the St. Louis area. We have an office in St. Louis and an office down in Cape Girardeau. We're a full service real estate brokerage, but we do specialize in property management. So if you're needing anybody to help you out with your investment properties, give me a shout and I can let you know details about our services. But essentially, we just handle everything for you from start to finish. You guys can just sit back and relax, and we will do everything involved with your investment property, finding the tenant, marketing, doing all the accounting, overseeing all the maintenance. The end of the year, we also do tax preparation for you. So give me a call. My name is Stacy Lowe. My number is 636-305-3380. I am extension 311. And then my email is Stacy, STACY, at sotops.com. And I'll put all of that in the chat as well.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy. Very good. I see Princess has her hand up. Do you have something for us?
Yes, thank you, Lloyd. It's kind of like a piggyback off to what John was saying. So I know that I came in about a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a wholesaler. I didn't have my first property under contract then, but I do now. However, I found out that it was a tax sale property. So we've taken this through a couple of title companies to realize that, you know, it won't be able to be processed that way. It will be, you know, via an attorney if that is something that you're interested in. But I just wanted to let everybody know that it is still available currently. So this is 69. It's a price drop to 69,000. It's a 3-1 in Dalewood, 1,014 feet. If you're interested in it, it has a huge backyard. I would say probably about 15,000 in rehab and around like right at 129 for ARV. Most of it is cosmetic, but it needs like a new water heater and some updates would really like spruce it up really good. It is tenant occupied and the tenants will be out in January. Otherwise, the owner's probably going to try and move them out with like, you know, free rent for a month if you move out early. We were just talking about that the other day. But yeah, this is one of the properties that I do have. It is under contract. We're actually trying to close within the next week because she has a tax lien on it right now. So we were trying to, you know, make sure everything's taken care of so it's clear. We do have title reports that will be provided to the buyer for free because we definitely did go to the title. We just aren't able to close with title. And let me see what else. Yeah, we have plenty of pictures of it. So if that's anything you'd like to see, make sure you drop your email and I can add you to my email list. Or you can just reach out to me at my number. It's 618-531-7450. And you'll either see Princess Birch or Cash from Midwest Homes listed.
Princess, can I give you a couple pieces of advice on the tax sale stuff?
Oh, yes,
I've been
please.
doing it myself. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make sure that they confirm the property and they actually own it. The second thing is there are only 2 title companies that know how to do auction properties. So you have to go through either Freedom Title or Investors Title Company. The other ones, it'll never happen because they don't know how to do it.
Okay. Let me see. So Freedom
so you know
Title.
that if it's an auction property in the city, it's yeah. You are talking about the city, right?
Yes,
Dalewood
so
is in the county.
Oh.
let me see. They're that's part of Ferguson, correct?
Oh, okay.
Dalewood,
So it may be
like in that area.
Yeah, they'd be in St. Louis County. That would.
That is the county, yes.
So Dalewood is his own
okay.
county.
it may be, but I would check with an attorney that's versed in that.
Right. Okay.
It would be worth it to pay them a consultation fee rather than going through this like 78 times and you know, like it'll cost you more to go through it and not be able, you know, and like till you figure it out. Because there's a lot of things like you can do research and everything, but there's a lot of things that, you know, like you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
So my advice would be to, you know, get somebody in, you know, get an attorney who knows tax sales in that area and, you know, pay them for a consult.
And just to be clear, to make sure the same information still applies, she got the property previously from her sister, and she had to like buy it back during that redemption period, I believe, for her sister. So that's why it was purchased in a tax sale. It was purchased from her for her sister, but then she got it deeded over and everything like that. So that would still, those two companies would still apply, and you would still recommend.
You may
the
need to talk,
consultation.
yeah, you may need to talk to an attorney about that because I know that those are the only two companies that know how to do it in the city. I don't
Gotcha.
know about the county. I'm not 100% sure about the county. But
Okay,
you
thank
know,
you.
I would say it's worth paying, you know, $250 to $500 to the to a tax attorney to find out what the process is and what you should, you know, like what you need to do.
Awesome.
And
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
don't
try.
live in St. Louis, so I'm not trying to drum up business or anything. Just
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Hey, Princess, let me ask you this. Was that, it sounds like it was after a third year tax sale that the sister bought it. Is that correct?
I do believe so. Yes, I think she got it right before it was going to go up for auction. So she caught it just in time. And her sister passed, but she also has the deed for it. She has all of the paperwork outside of, you know, just not being able to do it at a title company that I've looked at so far, because, you know, they won't insure the title.
Yeah, there's it depends on there's a lot of, you have a lot of unknown factors you'd have to look at. And not every title company, like Renee said, is going to know about that or even deal with it. There's ways to deal with it. I could take a look at it if you want. If you want to send me the title work, I'd be happy to look at it. But there are some things you could go through. You probably will have to get an attorney, but there's a lot of factors, a lot of things you can do yourself to save yourself some money. One of the things I used to do is hunt down the people that possibly be heirs, and that's where it sounds like you're going to have a little issue there. If she bought it after the third year tax sale, that's going to be a whole different story than if she bought it during the first two tax years before it actually went up there. So if you want to send me the paperwork, I'll send you my email address, or I put it in there actually, where you can send to get on the tax sale seminar list for next year. It's the AMS826@yahoo.com. But if you want to send me that, I could take a look at it. I could probably save you a little bit of time, but you probably will need to get an attorney, but there's probably some things you could do. I'm also going to say you're probably not going to close by next week. Okay. There are things you can do though in the meantime. You can control the property, but you can't sell it, which means that you could possibly get a tenant in there. There's a lot of properties that have messed up titles that you can still make cash flow. So as far as I know, you're a wholesaler right now and you're looking probably to make a little bit of money on it, but it may be more of a long-term project is what it sounds like. But you start getting into weeds with that kind of stuff, and it's really, you need a specialist. And that's why I would highly recommend you show up at our meeting on the 20th, and that would be a great thing to ask Dale Sweet about. Or you may even want to call them up in the meantime or talk to their office, which is, what is it? 636 tax sale. I don't remember the numbers, but that's the way I can remember. It's not 314, it's 636, because I have mistakenly put 314 down before. So, but that's something you may want to talk to their office about ahead of time. Chances are though, 1 week is not going to do it. You know, I'm just telling you that right now. Just from what I know about them. And to get a quiet title, they typically will, you know, they can take, I've had them take as much as 9 months to get everybody notified and get everything done. If you buy a property at the tax sale, it's actually a 1 year redemption period. And now you have, it would have been probably simpler had the person not passed away, because you probably could have got a quitclaim deed from them, and that will clear up a lot with the title company. But since now you have other things involved, you may have to go to probate. I mean, you have a lot. That sounds like this is actually a great learning one for your first your first opportunity. Princess, you're going to learn a lot of stuff that nobody knows, and it
You know
usually
what?
years.
You're so right, John. I've gotten a lot from it for sure. So like I realized kind of the steps. So one of the things is like she has gotten the deed. So before her sister even passed, they got it deeded over to her. She got it from the tax sale. You know, she pays the taxes, but I didn't understand how big that was even in the closing process. So, you know, she has it deeded over to her, and that's not the issue in itself, but the last title company was at least helpful enough to tell me why the first title company wouldn't work with me. And they were like, well, you need the quiet title suit. So that's why they're like, okay, we'll be 6 to 9 months, kind of, I guess what you're saying, like, you know, to make sure there's no other things. And I'm like, I would imagine because the title report says that everything else is clear, it would be clear outside of like, you know, sewer and tax lien. But then I also saw like maybe there could be mistakes in the county, like recording or something like that. Something I never thought of. So I keep learning. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned too, sewer liens and stuff. If the sewer's being paid right now, you'll be okay. But when they're not paid, even at closing, and we had one not too long ago where even though I paid a lot of the stuff up front, and then MSD still had some things on there, which we paid at closing, they still snuck in like another $150 at closing, because they check that stuff the day that they go in there. They check the public records, everything the title company does, and there's a lot of last minute stuff that they come up with. So even though you have your HUD-1, your settlement statement ahead of time, that's not always carved in stone. You could show up the next day, and I've had stuff where child support showed up from a different state, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, you just don't know. But yeah, and the title company is important. Renee mentioned investors. That's a good one here in town. They have a lot of branches, but it really just depends. And like I said, if you want, I could take a look at the title work. I'm fairly familiar with some of that stuff, and I might be able to save you some money even with the attorney, because if you can do a lot of this stuff yourself, because you're going to pay attorney wages or fees or whatever, even for a paralegal to go hunt all the people down that you need to notify. And I can kind of give you some ideas on how to maybe streamline that a little bit. It's still going to take a while though to clear it up. But in the meantime, you might be able to make it cash flow, or she might be able to. I mean, it's not your property, but you may be able to help some way. So
I think it would be worth a phone call to both investors and Freedom and ask them if they are familiar with the auction properties in your area, the area that you're in, because like it's way easier. They just know what to do, and they don't like take a month to do stuff and then, you know, tell you that. I had this happen with a sale of a property. The property owner wanted to, you know, go to a different title company, and that delayed a month. And then, you know, they said, oh, well, you know, you got to do this quiet title, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And, you know, the buyer wasn't willing to try another title company, because they were like, well, if this company can't do it, you know, how can another title company do it, or whatever. But I think it would be worth a call to both, because they're not going to tell you you have to do X, Y, and Z. They're going to say, you know, yes, we can do it. Like the ones that are, if they are familiar with that area.
That's really cool. That's both of those things, both like reaching out to John, because I know you understand the process better, and then also to Renee. I know that to do the title, I'm definitely willing to, but I feel like the time has passed. Like this date that we have is the 12th, because she's been getting an extension on the tax sale. So even if it was, you know, at Wednesday, I don't feel like the seller is willing to drop the price enough. So I don't know, maybe she'll come up with the money some other way. I don't feel like she's motivated enough to bring it out to title again. So I wouldn't be willing to to do it, but I would definitely go with investors instead of going with the previous title companies last time. I will say though,
Yeah,
Freedom,
no,
they were very nice though.
I would call them and have them kind of like in your pocket when you know, like for when you, if not this one, you know, like you may end up with another auction property somewhere, and you know, like I would call both of those and you know, just, you know, ask them if they're familiar with it, and then you know who is and who isn't. And both parties have to go to the same title company. That's the most important thing.
Right. Oh,
Or at least one of those two. They can't close, like the buyer can't close somewhere else because
right. Yeah.
but it would be, you know, it's worth a call and have them in your back pocket. So, you know, like if she does decide she actually wants to sell, you know, but you know, like I said, it's worth a call. It really is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I'm definitely going to reach out to them. I'm excited. I'm glad to know that there's somebody who has another way around it, because I was looking around. I was like, there's no way possible that people are waiting 6 months every single time. I'm like,
No,
there
that's
has to
not.
be a way.
No, but they're also not, a tax property is not going to close in a week either.
Exactly.
You know, it
yeah.
takes time for the title search and, you know, all of that, but no, it shouldn't take 6 months. You know, I learned that trick from Dale Sweet, actually. He's done all of my auction properties. Because you can do the
nice.
confirmation yourself, but it's a lot. You have to do a lot of things, and you're still going to have to pay for the title search. And, you know, like he doesn't really charge much on top of, I mean, that seems like a lot if the, that's whatever he charges is for everything, which is the confirmation, the title search, you know, everything that needs to be done, so that when if you go to sell it, you go to Investor's Title and you say, you know, here's my confirmation, and you know, they just do what it is that they do.
Oh, awesome.
So it would be good if you
Thank
can
you so
zoom
much.
in. I know I'm going to, if you can zoom into Dale's call or watch the replay, that would be really good.
And that was the one from yesterday?
Oh shoot, did we miss it?
The tax sale 1.0?
No. That was John's thing. No, this is the meeting. John, when is the next meeting?
Dale Sweet is
17?
Dale Sweet is going to be on our main meeting on the 20th of August.
20.
It's coming up yet. But also Dale, also on his website, he's got the Missouri tax sales.com. He has about an hour and 20-minute presentation there that gives you a lot of backgrounds on the tax sales for how it works in St. Louis County. So maybe even before the August 20th meeting, you could take a look there if you want to get a little more education. Sounds like this call has been a pretty good education for you, Princess.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I was able to jump on today.
Yeah.
And John, could you please tell me where I can find your email?
I think he put it in the did he put it in the chat?
Yeah, it's I put it in the chat. I'll put it in there again because I've got it on the let's see here.
Oh, it's the AMS 826
right here. Yeah, I put it in for the
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
to get on the waiting
Thank you
list
so much.
for Scott's seminar next year. That would be a good one for you to go to too, because it covers the whole state and every county is different. That's the whole thing. I mean, you can talk about the city, and then the city of Kansas City is different than St. Louis. Then the county is different, and they start doing their own stuff. We kind of talked a little bit about that yesterday, and besides the regular sales, which are regulated by Section 140 of the Missouri statutes, revised statutes. In fact, I've got the whole publication I'll give to you. That's what I got from the state yesterday. I was giving out, but if you want to read through that, that'll tell you, because dictated by, it's mandated by law. They have them all on the fourth Monday in August. You have to be there in person to even bid on them. And then now some of them are doing them differently. But one of the things I've always done, we talked a little bit about that, was buying them over the counter. And then they also have what I call free for all. There's their counties, a lot of them, they have so many properties, they do what they own, that what they want to, and they don't really go by exactly what the statutes are, because there's no way you can be in 115 places all in one day in person. And it's really hard. I guess you could have a representative. I've done that for people at different places, but to even buy the property, you have to be a Missouri resident to buy a property unless you have somebody that can represent you, through the state. And that's another process too. But we're kind of getting deep into some of this stuff. But that's one of the things that you just want to, in fact, just the best thing to do is I can send you some stuff. I don't want to take any more time with some of this right now, but plan on showing up on the 20th, or be there on August the 20th, because Dale, he's the one, he's probably the best one in the whole area for St. Louis City and St. Louis County, which are two separate things in itself. Okay, so depending on where you're doing, and Delwood, you're definitely in the county. So they have a different process. They're doing sealed bids right now and all kinds of stuff. And that's why I said, if I could take a look at your title work, because that'll tell you a lot. Title company, in fact, that's what I don't understand why more people don't go to the title companies first. I see that with realtors all the time. And I don't know why. When that was one thing that we learned with mortgages. First thing you do before you do anything is go see what's on the title, because they're the ones that make all the difference on transfers, or refinances, or anything. And we see realtors all the time. In fact, that happened with Laura's mom's house when she passed away a couple of years ago. They had all this stuff, and they advertised, did all the stuff, and then they wait till like less than a week before closing, and then all of a sudden they got the title report, and there was one thing with the trust they had to redone. Now, fortunately, with hers, it was done. It was able to get done fairly easily, because they could find the attorney, because people die and things happen from the 1990s. A lot of things happen when you change stuff and you think you did it all the right way, but even the attorneys are not all experts in what they should be doing, or there's one wording different and stuff like that. So the title work is the very first thing you should do. And what you did, Princess, is very smart, because you got the title work fairly quickly. Most people wait, but go ahead and get your contract signed and send it to the title company before you even do anything. In fact, you could even make up a contract with somebody just to get the title work, because they don't want to do anything for nothing, but that's a way to do it. The other thing you could do is spend $175 or $200, whatever they charge nowadays, and get a letter report. They will do that on any property that you're looking at. You could tell them you're a wholesaler and I need a letter report. That $175 or whatever, it'll take you probably a week to get the title work back, but that can save you months and months of hard work and trying to hunt people down and everything, because you can see stuff on there almost immediately that you may not even want to deal with. And I've had many times where I spent the $150 or $175 for a letter report on deals I just walked away from. I had an appraiser tell me many years ago, and this holds true today, some of the best deals you ever do are the ones you don't do. Yeah. And that's very, very true. Sometimes it's in the learning, and you'll get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of learning on, Princess, on the deal you're working on right now, that you will never get from a seminar, and you will never get it any other way other than going through it, because every time it's different too. But the title work is like, that's where your education is. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff to say, but that's stuff that a lot of people don't know until you know it.
Yep.
And Dale Sweet will teach you a lot of this stuff. I mean, the presentation he did out in Gladstone back in June, I had to crack up, because he used, and I don't know if he's going to talk somewhat about that, but he used the characters at the title company on what you run into. The brother-in-laws, the people that change jobs every 6 months that are there and act like the attorneys don't know anything. And these are some of the best attorneys, and they call them stupid. And it just really cracks me up, just some of the stuff. But that's who you're dealing with, because they have to insure the title, and you don't know who you're dealing with. And the title company does make all the difference. But get your report right out of the gate. I mean, and I'm just amazed more professionals don't do that, because that's where everything falls apart. R goes through.
I thank you so much. You all were extremely helpful. Like you said, thousands of dollars worth of help, because I've just been searching. I've been bigger pockets in. I've been looking at the people who I really have been taken from over the years, even when I wasn't actively wholesaling, just like learning bits of information and stuff like that. But this like actual experience of doing it and having it under contract and having a buyer who wasn't serious and just all of these things so far, it's been the most helpful. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the learning is in the doing. You can watch all the videos, you can go through all the trainings, but until you actually get out there and see what happens. I mean, even Dale was talking about that with his stuff a couple of months ago. And even when even when you've done this thousands and thousands of times, there's still something you don't know until you don't know it, So keep learning, Princess. Hang in there. It'll all be fine. Just don't quit, because that's what the whole deal is. And 5 years from now, when you'll find another deal like that, you'll say, oh, I know exactly what to do. And you'll kind of laugh about it. And the other people won't know what you're talking about because they haven't gone through it. So that's just how it works. So.
Yeah, you're in a good place to be learning here. That's why that's one of the whole reasons for St. Louis Real Estate Investors' existence, is to provide education for investors and networking opportunities like this, which end up being educational in themselves too. So,
And I'm including myself in this. Is like, take what you can learn, works for you, and leave the rest. Like, just for a quick example, like the Bigger Pockets guy has some great information, but some of the stuff that he says to do or don't do doesn't line up with my personal values. So, like, I use the stuff that works for me and, leave the rest.
yeah, good advice.
Hey, and I wanted to mention that on St. Louis County, you can check the lanes online.
Yeah, you can pull up the
The property by address.
yeah, pull it up, the records.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Sorry, real quick, is that Geo St. Louis, or is that only for the city? Is it a different website to look up the tax liens?
I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
Let me check my records. I'll get back to you.
Probably on the collector site. That's where things are in St. Charles County anyway. Collector revenue.
Yeah, all the counties are different, and we used to have to go down to St. Louis County to sift through them, but that still doesn't do a full-fledged title search, even though a letter report will not either, but it'll give you more than you'll find out from the county. So that's just like, they will not typically have the latest MSD liens on there, grass cutting fees, weed abatement, things like that. That's just something you're going to have to go by. And it's really property by property. That's where all your due diligence comes in. So you have to do a lot of work. But yeah, the title work will tell you all that. But there are a lot of things you can find out online. And the more you can do before you get to your attorney, the better off you're going to be as far as what it ends up costing. So
yeah, it's the Recorder of Deeds office.
Yes.
Recorder of Deeds website.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, who else has got something for us today?
Hey y'all, I'm looking for a house for me because I need to get out of Illinois. So I'm looking in South City County, West County, or near Jefferson County. Looking for anything with a 2-car garage or ideally better. So if you have anything like that, you can call or text me at 618-444-3044. Thanks.
Okay, looking
Do you have Reed, do you have like a price point, or do you have anything like that you're specifically looking for? Are you looking for a fixer upper or move-in ready, or what about are you looking for?
Sure. Yeah, I like outdated, like, pink toilets, asbestos. I love it. So I'm looking for a deal, something around 200,000, good bones, but I can definitely fix it up.
Okay, but not a major rehab or anything like that.
No gut rehabs or nothing like that.
Okay. All right. That can always be helpful. All right. And what was your number again?
It's 444-3044.
4-4. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody knows of something, and sounds like he's flexible in his area as long as it's on the right side of the river here. So, or should I say the left side of the river, left bank. He's on the right bank. We're on the left bank and over here. Anyway, okay, maybe you can help Reed find a new home in Missouri. Anybody else got anything want to talk about today?
Hey, Lloyd.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, let me introduce myself. My name's Jay Roman. I'm a private money broker, and I specialize in fix and flips, fix and keeps, and refi reboots. I also lend in commercial and multifamily. As a matter of fact, anything in regards to real estate, I can find you funds in. So my phone number is 314-513-1982. I put that in the chat. The second thing I'm looking for in the St. Louis area is I'm looking for a fix and flip myself. The worse, the better. The cheaper, the better, of course. But that's what I'm looking for. You can contact me at the same number.
Okay, Jay.
Any certain area, Jay?
No, anywhere in the St. Louis area.
Anywhere. Okay. All right. And cheaper the better. You want something really to work on.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that should be easy to find.
Sure, a lot of those around. Anyway, I see Amber's got her hand up. Amber? What do you got?
Hey there, just wanted to follow up from last week. I was asking a question about my self-directed IRA property and how you go about getting a loan for that. So I reached out, number one, to my custodian. She basically told me you cannot get a loan for a self-directed IRA. You have to roll over money from your retirement account, I guess, and make a contribution. That's how it goes. I then also followed up with a bank. I think that there was NASB in Kansas City. The guy called me back and he said something different, which was, oh, yes, you can actually get a loan. It's not a non-recourse, or I think he did say it would be a non-recourse. But non-recourses are actually used to buy properties, not fix up properties. So I think that was the nuance there. But he said basically it would be considered a refi, and the refis that they're doing right now are 150,000 or more, and I don't need that much for this property. So I'm going to look into other options, but I just want to follow up that it does not appear that a non-recourse loan can be utilized to update a self-directed IRA property.
Okay, yeah, that is a difference, I guess. Yeah, because I think when Equity Trust talks about non-recourse loans, they're just using a down payment out of their out of your IRA to purchase a property, your self-directed IRA, and then going to get a non-recourse loan for the balance. So yeah, that is a difference. So that's okay. Good to clarify that. Okay, now we know. Okay. Anybody got anything else for us? Well, if not, so we can wrap it up here. It's going 11:45, but nobody has anything else. Hope you all can get out to the tax sales. Like I said, like John has been pushing here. We need to, if you are going to go to a tax sale, you need to have an education ahead of time. So don't just show up at the courthouse on the day of the sale and think you're going to walk away with a bargain. A lot of ins and outs, a lot to know, and you don't know what you don't know until you know it, as John said. So,
Well, St. Louis County too is doing sealed bids this year, which is
I
kind
saw
of,
that.
you've
Yeah.
got to have it in, you've got to get your stuff registered, notarized ahead of time, which you're just running out of time for all that. And then you got to know what you're doing. And the fact that one of the things they were talking about, which I agree with, is by sealed bids, you have to send a cashier's check in with,
Yeah.
the money in with your bid. And then what's bad about all that is if you don't get it, then they take a while to send your money back, even if it's in, a couple of days, but you can't bid on something else. The thing about the live auctions, if you're sitting there, you have to have your cashier's check readily available. But if you don't get something, you still got your money. This way, your money's just out of the bank and just sitting there, and it makes absolutely no sense to me the way they're doing it. But that's, you don't just show up at the courthouse. It's sealed bid is weird. And I don't know. I
Yeah.
personally wouldn't want to even do that,
No, I saw they did. Apparently they did start that during the pandemic. They didn't want to have, a bunch of people in a room bidding on the property. So they started the sealed bid. But yeah, thought that was kind of strange too. But gotta look at it from the county's viewpoint. Yeah, they don't want people, um, that don't have money winning a bid and then, oh, I don't have enough money. So they want to make sure they're covered. So to look at it from their standpoint. But from a bidder standpoint, yeah, you can't go out and bid on 5 different properties and you may only get 1 or 2. Well, when you only have enough money to put in on 2 of them, and you may not even get those 2. So it just ties up your fund.
Yeah, I just don't, I
Well,
don't
yeah,
understand.
it's for 5 years. They have a redemption period of 5 years. So even if you get it, your money is tied up for 5 years. At least the last I heard, at the last I read about the county one, it's a really long redemption.
Well, they have a 1-year redemption period before you get the deed. I mean, that's one of the things they were talking about at our seminar we were at. But there's rules you got to follow, and that's in the 140 publication. If you want a copy of that, I'll be happy to send it to you. But between 90 and 120 days, you have to give notice to everybody, and it has to be by certified mail, regular mail. If there's occupants in there, you have to be delivered to them. There's all these different rules that they have, and then if you don't do it, you can get in trouble. And what a lot of people have done the last couple of years is they because you're not really even you don't own the property for the first year, but you have to, you can still get violations from the county from not cutting the grass and stuff. And some of the people, even the legislatures that were there, said they bought some properties that way, and they would even cut the grass even though they may not even get the title by the end of the year. So there's just a lot of details you need to know. I personally, I've never been to a tax sale, and I don't plan on going. The more I know, the more I'm not going to do it. I like dealing with the people before they get to the 3rd year, which is 5 years of back taxes, or even earlier than that. What really has been some of the best ones that I've dealt with are when they are not even coming up to the tax sale, but you just thumb through the public records, look for people 1 year or 2 years behind on their taxes, because it takes 3 full years, and at least in the county, before they even come up to the first year tax sale. And that's when people are still thinking, still kind of struggling, but a lot of times they're easier to find, because usually once people start getting to the tax sales, they get hard to find because they usually have a lot of other things going on in their life, and a lot of them don't want to be found. That's not the only bill they're not paying, and that's not the only problem they have. I mean, that's my experience with them, but they're a lot easier to deal with before they quite get there. But just a lot of things to know. Just keep learning. That's all I can tell you. Just keep learning, because the things change all the time. They talked about the Jones-Munger Act is what a lot of the lawsuits have been going by in the last couple of years. And I know Scott, Scott's really into that, Scott Walterbach, and he'll be talking about that next year. But that's that gets into another whole can of stuff, because they're taking interpretations. I mean, the way the judges do it when it comes down to it. And they, one of them they used was from a St. Louis County property. I think it was Show Me LLC or Show Me Properties LLC or something like that. And that had 2 or 3 different interpretations from the judge. And that's still an ongoing thing. In the meantime, because you can't get in there and do anything on the property, and that's a decision you make, the properties don't get better when they sit there empty. I mean, I can tell you that from personal experience. I don't care what neighborhood it's in. And that's another thing that I've been looking at that I've never really considered doing. But maybe the first 2 years of the tax sales, some of the nicer neighborhoods, it might be worth getting the 10% interest and getting the lien on the property, because they're probably going to redeem them within the year. you know? So if you go up to the very first one, because a lot of these, people pass away, there's inherited property, a lot of things happen to people, but if you look at some of maybe the nicer neighborhoods, that might be a strategy, because 10% is not too bad compared to a lot of things you could get your money on. I mean, I still don't believe there's anything. I think passive income is one of the biggest lies in real estate investing, but that's about as close as you could probably get, to passive income, is just by doing something like that. So I don't know. There's a lot of good strategies though, and there's a lot of I don't know. I just encourage you to show up on the 20th. And Dale, he's the probably the top expert in our whole area. That's where I would definitely show up just to learn. And just like you do on Fridays, we seem to go through a lot of good conversations here
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yeah.
A lot of experience here. So
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that again, John. We talked about it last week, that these tax sale lists coming out for the county and all the counties. That's a good source for finding some people that are having financial issues and may be willing to sell their properties before it gets on the market. So some good opportunities there. Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else, I'm ready to take a lunch break. So thank you all for coming today. See you back here next week, and especially on the hope you got the 20th marked on your calendar. Show up at the Shriners and get to talk to Dale Sweet firsthand. Ask some questions of the attorney and get and it won't charge and it won't cost you anything. It'll if you're a member. But
I just got back here, Lloyd. Yeah, sorry, Lloyd. I think a couple weeks ago, somebody had talked, and I don't know, I probably got it in my notes somewhere, about finding a mower. I hired some guy who worked 3 times, but he didn't do the full work each 3 times, and I think he's ghosted me for 3 weeks. So I don't know if anybody has a lawnmower in the city in South County out there. But I figured I'd throw that out real quick.
Okay, a lawn mowing service for South City and South County.
Right.
Okay.
And
Well,
my
give
phone
me your phone on there, Bruce, and
it's 314-742-1810.
okay. So anybody's got a lawn service that they've used in South City, South County, and wanted to share with Bruce, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Okay.
All right.
We're coming today, and hope you got something out of it. I know I got some of that. I keep coming back here. I seem like I learn something almost every week. Especially Amber's with all of the tax sale information, not what the little gem that Amber brought to us about non-recourse loans can only be used for purchase. So, okay, thank you all for coming. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Yep.